So I'm going to keep reading on temperament. So temperament. If you were to spend a few minutes watching toddlers in a nursery school, you most likely would notice that even before they are a year old, some children clearly act differently than others. If you were to spend a week working in the nursery, you could probably identify the active babies, the ones who cry frequently, and hopefully a few who are usually quiet and happy. Although it is possible these differences are the result of different treatment that children receive at home, a growing number of researchers are convinced these general behavioral styles are present at birth. Further, they argue that these general styles are relatively stable and influence the development of personality traits throughout a person's life. But does this mean that some people are born to be sociable and others are born to be shy? Probably not. More likely, we are born with broad dispositions toward certain types of behaviors. Psychologists refer to these general behavioral dispositions as temperaments. Temperaments are general patterns of behavior and mood that can be expressed in many different ways, and that, depending on one's experiences, develop into different personality traits. How these general dispositions develop into stable personality traits depends on a complex interplay of one's genetic predispositions and the environment that a person grows up in. Temperament and personality. Although researchers agree that temperaments are general behavioral patterns often seen in newborns, they do not always agree on how to classify or how to measure the different kinds of temperaments they observe. Indeed, researchers often disagree on the number of basic temperaments. One popular model identifies 3 temperament dimensions: emotionality, activity, and sociability. Emotionality refers to the intensity of emotional reactions. Children who cry frequently, who are easily frightened, and who often express anger are high in this temperament. As adults, these individuals are easily upset and may have a quick temper. Activity refers to a person's general level of energy. Children high in this temperament move around a lot, prefer games that require running and jumping, and tend to fidget and squirm when forced to sit still for an extended period of time. Adults high on this dimension are always on the go and prefer high energy activities. Let me just move this a little bit. Okay. Hopefully you guys don't think this is too boring, but whatever. Children high in this temperament move around a lot, prefer games that require running and jumping, and tend to fidget and squirm when forced to sit still for an extended period of time. Adults high on this dimension are always on the go and prefer high energy activities like playing sports and dancing. Wow, I just read that. Okay, just been fixing the carpet. It's like all touched up. Okay. Sociability relates to a general tendency to affiliate and interact with others. Sociable children seek out other children to play with. Adults high in this temperament have a lot of friends and enjoy social gatherings. Where do temperaments come from? Because we can identify temperamental differences in babies, it is not surprising that researchers find evidence that temperaments are largely inherited. In contrast to the approach taken by many physicians and psychologists a few decades ago, it is now widely agreed that not all babies are born alike. Parents with difficult-to-manage babies are often troubled by descriptions of the typical newborn who sleeps whenever put into a crib, eats meals on a regular schedule, and responds to parental attention with calm, loving sounds. Fortunately, most popular baby books today assure parents that some babies are going to be more active and more emotional than others. Consistent with common observation, researchers also find gender differences in temperament. Girls are more likely than boys to exhibit an effortful, controlled temperament, which includes the ability to focus attention and exercise control over impulsive urges. On the other hand, boys are more likely than girls to be identified with a surgency temperament. This temperament pattern includes high levels of activity and sociability. These gender differences can be seen in children as young as 3 months of age. Can we look at temperament levels in preschool children and determine what kind of adult personalities they will have? To a certain degree, the answer is yes. Consider the results of an ongoing longitudinal study conducted in Dunedin, New Zealand. I probably said that totally wrong. 91% of the children born in this town between April 1st, 1972 and March 31st, 1973 were tested for temperament at the age of 3. Wow, that's a lot of reading. The researchers identified 3 temperament types in these toddlers. The well-adjusted children exhibited self-control and self-confidence and approached new people and situations with little difficulty. The under-controlled children were impulsive and restless and easily distracted. The inhibited children were fearful, reluctant to get involved in social activities, and uneasy in the presence of strangers. The investigators then examined personality development and behavior at several points as the children moved through childhood and adolescence and into their young adult years. What did they find? As expected, the well-adjusted children became relatively healthy, well-adjusted adults. Also, as expected, the under-controlled and uninhibited children's lives had their difficulties. During the elementary school and adolescent years, under-controlled children were more likely to have problems with fighting, lying, and disobeying at both school and home. As young adults, they were more likely to experience legal, employment, and relationship problems. By the time they reached 32, these individuals were twice as likely to have a problem with excessive gambling as the participants who had been classified as well-adjusted. Compared to the other 2 groups, inhibited children showed more signs of worrying and fussing when growing up, and as adults they were less socially engaged and more likely to suffer from depression. Although temperament by no means is the sole determinant of adult personality and behavior, this study and others make the cause that temperament plays an important role in personality development. The process through which general temperaments develop into personality traits is complex and influenced by a large number of factors. Although the child's general level of emotionality or activity points the development of personality in a certain direction, the development is also influenced by the child's experiences as he or she grows up. For example, a highly emotional child has a better chance of becoming an aggressive adult than does a child low in this temperament. But parents who encourage problem-solving skills in place of expressing anger may turn a highly emotional child into a cooperative, non-aggressive adult. A child low in sociability is unlikely to become an outgoing, highly gregarious adult, but that child might develop excellent social skills, be a wonderful friend, and learn to lead others with a quiet, respectful style. Most temperament researchers accept that biologically based differences in temperament are directly related to differences in adult personality, but there is also a less direct connection. General behavioral dispositions also affect the development of personality traits because a child's temperament influences the type of environment he or she lives in. That is, how other people react to us and whether they will be a part of our environment at all is partly determined by our temperament. For example, children high in sociability are likely to seek out situations with other people. Parents react differently to a baby who is constantly fussing and restless than to one who sleeps calmly. As a result, the restless baby experiences a different parent-child relationship than children with other temperaments. Temperament also generates expectations in other people that can affect the way they treat a child. Preschool teachers often use general activity levels to draw conclusions about a child's personality. It is not hard to imagine that these different teacher expectations lead to treating each student a little differently. That's true, I think. In short, adult personalities are determined by both inherited temperament and the environment. Moreover, temperament influences the environment, and the environment then influences the way temperament develops into stable personality traits. Within limits, 2 children born with identical temperaments can grow up to be 2 very different people. A child with a high activity level may become an aggressive, achieving, or athletic adult, but that child will probably not become lazy and indifferent. A child does not represent a blank slate on which parents may draw whatever personality they desire, but neither is a child's personality set at birth, leaving the parents and society to settle for whatever they get. That sucks, because society isn't perfect, that's for sure. Oh my god. Okay, inhibited and uninhibited children. I don't know if I should read that right now or save that for another segment. I think I'll save that for another segment. Yeah. Alright. Peace out.